name's Brandy Bender, and I'm here with my colleague, Miss Mavis Bacsal, and I am going to interview her about her role as a special education teacher. So please introduce yourself to those who will be watching.
Hi.
And share your credentials as a special education teacher.
Yes, first of all, I'm honored to be interviewed with one of my colleagues, best colleagues, my best friend as well, Mrs. Bender. Thank you. My experience. I'll introduce myself first. I'm Mavis Bacsal. I'm a special education teacher, and this is my 13 years of teaching special education. For the first, I would say, early years of my teaching was in the Philippines, and for the last 5 years, I've taught here in the U.S. as a special education teacher as well. And I graduated my my bachelor's degree in special education in the Philippines in one of the universities. And then I took my master's degree in special education as well. And I graduated last 2021. And then currently I'm on my doctoral degree. I'm taking my Doctor of Philosophy in Development Administration, major in Education Governance. I'm not taking doctoral for my special education, but I'm trying to do more on the administration side. So, yeah.
Great. Please describe the special education setting that you teach in.
At first, I started with inclusion, and then I was moved to teach self-contained setting, wherein I have like multiple disability students, ADHD with autism, and I had also some of them has hearing impairment and visual impairment too. So yeah, so most likely, but I'm more on self-contained setting.
Okay. Do you work with any paraeducators?
Yes.
And how many do you work with?
So when I got here in the US, I got paras, but guess what? When I was in the Philippines, we don't have paras.
Oh.
And I have I would say I have 13 students in my classroom. And I don't have any para. And the case we have multiple disabilities, like autism and all those disabilities. And I was by myself in the classroom because we don't have those paras over there. Like teacher aid for us, what we call. But here, I got, last year I got 4 paras, 2 one-on-ones, and then 2 paras with other kids.
Okay. And so describe the roles for me of the one-to-one paras.
So the one-on-one para usually will just, work with the kid that she needs to work with. So it pertains especially the kid is juvenile, and the bathroom is the diapering and all those stuff.
Okay.
So in my classroom, if she's one-on-one, she's supposed to be one-on-one.
Okay.
Unless if that kid not around, then she offers her help to work with my other students.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do your other 2 paras do in the classroom?
So my other 2 paras, they work also with other students that I do have. So I assigned students
Okay.
with them. So yeah.
So you assign students to
To
those
each
other
para.
paras.
Yeah.
Okay.
Each para.
And what levels of experience do those paras have?
So I would say most likely they have experience working with them before. Since I'm a middle school, like one of my paras last year was she worked with them already when they were in elementary. So luckily she moved to the middle school and worked with them. And then most of them already have their you know experience in teaching self-contained setting as well. So like these kids. So that's one thing when we interview the for paras position, we usually make sure that they already have experience with working with these students, with the students with the disabilities. So yeah,
So nobody is fresh.
most no. Like mostly we don't, at least they have the experience.
Okay.
Yes.
Do they have many years of experience?
I would say 1 to 2 years
Okay.
is what we're looking.
All right.
likely.
How do you direct the instruction of the paras and their management of students in the classroom?
Okay, so what we do is, what I usually do at the beginning of the school year, I always make sure that, I give them, so I had I have meetings. We meet like, or I already prepared, like for example, I have to send the IEP plans, give them to my parents, to the kids, for those kids that they were going to work for the year, and then guide them so that they know what the goals and we discuss it. And after that, I always let them know to give them the work that they're going to do for the whole semester.
Okay.
It's already prepared, so they always prepare each one of them their work, like for each kid, for the work, for the whole semester, or up to the how to say, to the kind of the IEP, before the IEP review. So they have that. I prepare all the worksheets in a binder. Each one of them has one. And then I prepare also an individual binder for them, wherein the parents will take that work for them for the whole week and then put it in the individual binder. So all those will be prepared every time we have, because we have Wednesday, right? So the Wednesday is our like PLC or something. So they know that they already have to prepare that for the next week. So it should be prepared a week before we use it for each kid. And for classroom management, I do PLC with them, and at least once a month, and wherein they're going to give me report of or updates about how's their kids, how they are doing with them, and then we talk about strategies and methods or some behavior problems if there is, so that we could collaborate, or what strategies we need to do, or what are the strategies that are, or will be effective for them. So we try, of course, trial and error every time, because every day is a new day, so for them, so we know. So that's how we kind of do our classroom management. Of course, before that, we do some routines. So we follow some routines. I always set the routines, especially the first 2 weeks in the beginning of the school year. Those are the weeks, the 2 weeks in the beginning of the school year. I would say that's the most crucial weeks that we have, because that's the when you're trying to know your kids, this kid's behavior wise, or their performance or whatever. So those 2 weeks, but then on that 2 weeks, I put the routines already. So the rules and routines that they're going to follow. It's not that because they have their disabilities, it doesn't mean that they could not follow rules. But you have to be consistent and firm of what you're trying them to do. But the first most is for their safety. As long as they're safe And then, yes, so that's how manage my classroom.
Wow, okay. So you do a lot of planning far in advance.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
definitely.
How frequently or are there conflicts among your staff?
I would say it's rare because I make sure the beginning of the school year, I constantly talk to them that we are here in this classroom, working this classroom, and I know that, working in this classroom in a self-contained setting is not easy. We need patience, trust, we need to collaborate, we need to be a team. Like, we need to be a team player. So each one should be a team player. Because if we are not going to work as a team, it will not work. And the kids will feel it, will know
Yes.
that we're not, united. So that's how, so most likely, and then communication. I already always told them that if you have concerns, issues, let's talk it together. And then we usually do it during PLC, and then if it is not, because we do once a month PLC, I do once a month PLC with them. So if it's urgent that we have to resolve that issue right away, so right after school, we talk. So, but so far, based on my experience for 3 years, and for the past 3 years, we've been collaborating and cooperating. They work very good, and then we have that. I would say the key is constant communication.
Constant communication.
Yes, I would say.
Okay. Have there been any situations when one of your pairs has overstepped their boundaries in your classroom?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had that experience during my first year here. Yes, I had that. Well, it's probably, I would say, maybe it's because she thought that, I'm from different country, but I don't know, but yes, it happened. But what I did was, at first, I spoke with her, and then, if something I could, help, or if because I'm open with suggestions. I always told my parents, I'm like, I'm open for suggestion. I'm not perfect,
Right.
and you guys know also these kids, and you have also your experience. Maybe, like, I'm not perfect. Like, everything is, like, every day is different, so that's why we're like, I'm open. Like, I'm an open-minded person. I take suggestion, ideas, strategies that you guys knows, because that I don't know, because yeah. So, but then that time she's like, okay. So at first I spoke with her, and then I gave her once, I would say, and then she did it again. So the second time she did, I actually spoke with her maybe 3 times before I go to the higher ups. So about it.
So you gave multiple chances
Yes.
for her to improve before you escalated the
Oh, yes,
situation outside
yes.
of your own
Yeah.
area.
Yes,
Okay.
because I believe, like maybe she's just adjusting or whatever too. I'm like, yeah. So we have different also with our own, I would say our behaviors or whatever. So yeah, so I gave her a chance. I spoke with her. I would say constant communication, but yeah. But since it's not that effective already, I would say so. I go to higher up. So
Okay.
yeah.
Are there any outside service providers that work within your classroom?
Yes, yes.
And what types of services do they provide?
So I have my kids has their the SLP, the speech language pathologist,
Okay.
and then they have your vision specialist, and we have the occupational therapist as well.
Okay. And how frequently are they in your classroom?
So for the SLP or the speech language pathologist, they come twice a week,
Okay.
and then for the same as well with the vision specialist,
Okay.
and the occupational therapist they come like once a week.
Okay. Does that get disruptive to your classroom routines?
I would say no, because we kind of know already beforehand that we know already that this specific kids or this kids has their needs to have these services as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do with mine is beforehand I do my schedule. So and then they ask me to if before they put that schedule, they ask me first if are they available at this time. So there is communication so that we will not have a conflict of schedule. So I would
Okay.
not say it's
So there's pre-planning and
Yes, there is.
you build it right into the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How frequently do you work with student families?
Most likely I do call like if there are some frequently I would say like if there are some concerns I call right away because I don't want it to be I would say to wait for something I would say worst to happen
Mhm.
before you raise or you communicate that concern. So yeah, so I call directly to the parents. I call if there are some issues. I call if they did good. Even
Okay.
though they did great in the classroom, if I could see the improvement, I call as well. Not only the issue part, of course.
So not always bad news.
No bad news, not all the time. Yes. So yeah. So that's how I do it. And I also what I do with the families, well, I ask them too. Like, okay, do you have some expectations or yeah, especially during our during IEP
Mm-hmm.
meeting. I ask also those questions if they have expectations and concerns.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, so that's how I communicate with families.
Okay. Based on the work you've done with families so far, what do you think they want most for their children?
First and foremost, safety. So, and that's one big thing for me as well. So
Mhm.
in self-contained setting, safety is the number one priority. I would say safety, like for example, make sure that the kids, we don't have sharp objects near them. So, or like for example, if your tables are, that probably they will bump their head or something like that. So make sure that everything is safe, no sharp objects around them, and another concern of the families is, like for example, if so I have parents who's like, okay, teacher, what do you do in school or in your classroom to handle the behavior of my child? So what I usually do is I share with them and I give some ideas or strategies. So this is how I do it, and then I could feel like it's working. It's working in my classroom. If you want, you can do the same thing at home.
Okay.
And they like it. They really want those communications because they need help as well,
Mhm.
especially how to handle behaviors of these kids, of their child. So those are more like major concerns for them.
Okay. And what relationships within your school community do you find to be vital to your success?
Support. That's a big thing for me, especially working with these kids. I really need support, especially materials for these kids, because most of the kids in self-contained, they need hands-on materials, sensory materials, for their fine motor skills, for their gross motor skills, or all these motor skills, and their sensory, to develop their sensory skills, and also of course collaboration, and yeah. So, and I saw, and I'm glad that they have those support as well.
So, who within the community is offering these supports to you?
In the community.
Yeah, in your school community.
In school community, most well, friends, my colleagues, the same as special ed colleagues as well, and friends, also also of course the admin also supports, especially with the materials that we needed. So yeah.
Okay. In your experience, is there enough communication between you and those that you work with to have a strong working relationship to benefit the students?
Yes, especially within our classroom, because as like I mentioned a while ago, constant communication is vital. It's very important. So like my parents knows how I would say my routines, because since the beginning I do all what we have. I mean, I introduce it to them, discuss it with them, how you are going to do it, how I'm expecting them to do it, and but of course, like what I said, I'm open with suggestion. So yes, and then of course we don't know yet if that strategies that I've suggested, that I want them to, or I'm expecting them to do, will work, because it's the beginning. So it's like a process, and I would say collaboration, being a team player, or having a team in the classroom, collaborating, having that support from each other. It's not like, for example, since you're working with your kids, you're just working, even though they're not there, you cannot work with other kids. They know that they're going to help each other.
Okay.
So there is that helping hands. Yeah, that's how I describe team, like a team. So you're not just focused on what you are, the group of students that you have, but of course if you have all those group of students you have for that day, then you keep to focus on that. But if you knew something that worked with your kids and you think will work with the other kids on the with your other para, then you can they suggest, they give suggestion, they give ideas too. So we collaborate. That's what I'm saying. So
Okay. And finally, could you share some encouraging words for potential special education teachers?
oh, well, it's fun. Well, no, I would say one thing is I could share is they're lovely. The kids are, I would say, the passion. You have to have the passion, the patience, very important, and love them, the care. Because for my 13 years of teaching these kids, they knew, even though they are, some of them are non-verbal, cannot say their feelings, or even though they're verbal, but they could not tell you what they feel, but they could feel what you, or how you feel for them, like the care, the love that you show to them. They knew if you're just there for your salary, or you're just there to just give them something, that's it, not beyond that. Because for these kids, they don't only need paperwork, but they need love and care. That's how you, I would say, survive in being a special education teacher.
I agree with that very much. I tell kids all the time I love them.
Yes, yes, like having that, not only being said that, but let them feel, because they will really feel that. Whatever their disabilities, they could feel that you really care, genuinely. Yes, so, yeah, I think that's the only secret for me, I would say, with my experience. Yeah, like genuinely love and care for them.
All right, thank you so much for giving up your time to help me with this
Of course,
interview.
my pleasure, my pleasure. Thank you.